Welcome. My name's Keith Carson, Director of Partnerships with Therapy Specialists. Again, I'm joined by my colleague, Kelly Cooney, who's the VP of Compliance and Training for Therapy Specialists. And we wanted to talk about some of the proposed rules that have come down the pike over the last 2 months. I would love to have an app on my phone, just like watching my stocks, where I could just say, okay, this one's up, this one's down. I can get regular reminders as to some of the changes that are happening, not only in healthcare, but more specifically with these proposed rules. There are 3 that are of significance over the last few months: the skilled nursing facility PPS proposed rule, and then you also have a proposed rule for home health, as well as the physician fee schedule that recently came out. So, Kelly, if you can, try to summarize some of just the key points and aspects that our audience might need to be mindful of with these proposed rules.
This is the most change that I've seen since the 1990s in terms of rules and rolling out new regulatory environment in this environment.
Significant.
Significant.
Yeah.
I sit on the board of the National Association of Rehab Agencies and Providers, and in my role as vice president, I coordinate all the comments to these proposed rules that the organization makes on behalf of the organization and therapy specialists and our customers and our clients and our residents that we treat. And so I take a deep dive into some of this stuff and I kind of get into weeds. But to summarize, there are a lot of impactful things coming. Yeah. We have the proposed rule for skilled nursing that wouldn't come into play this year. It would be next year. But we made a lot of comments about PDPM, the patient-driven payment model. About some ways that we thought it could be better. It's definitely coming. I think everybody kind of agrees now that PDPM is going to happen.
Sure.
It's just a matter of what it looks like and how it's handled. And so we made some comments, and CMS, the comment period ended, and relatively quickly they went ahead and sent it on down the path. So it's looking like we may get the Office of Management and Budget's looking at it right now. They're probably going to cost it out, and we'll probably get an interim rule pretty soon, or a final rule. So a lot of people are thinking it might be an interim rule Coming soon. Yeah. So we'll have a little more clarity, but it's probably based on the short amount of time between the comment period and the moving it on down the road, probably going to look pretty similar to what they sent out. Yeah. So with that, it changes things quite a bit. It moves some buckets around. We kind of had a couple of buckets that made up PPS before, nursing and therapy. Yeah. Right? That was pretty much what it was. Sure. That was what we looked at. And they've really taken into account that there's a lot more that goes into caring for a patient. Totally. And so they move the buckets around. And the therapy bucket was kind of full with a lot of costs that maybe wasn't really attributable to therapy. A lot of providers were not paying all that they got in that therapy component of the rug to therapy. They were using it to pay for medications and other things, right? Sure. Which weren't covered anywhere else in that payment. Yeah. So they've kind of spread it all out now. So there's a PT, OT, and speech case mix. And then they've added in non-therapy ancillaries, nursing, and a non-case mix component. So if I'm a provider right now in a skilled nursing facility, I am getting really familiar with what makes up all of those components. And in particular, I'd be looking at that non-therapy ancillary case mix. There are some things that your MDS nurse can be doing right now to get really good at coding those items that make that up. And that getting that piece of the pie is going to be significant. Sure. And so you can really impact some of your reimbursement by taking a look at some of these new buckets and making sure right now that your MDS nurse and your therapy team are really comfortable with identifying those items and getting good at it. It may not drive your payment right now, but you have a little time to get good at it. Sure. And now's the time to do it. So that's definitely the first thing.
Helpful. So talk a little bit about, the home health piece, which we don't have to spend a ton of time on, but I'd love to spend even a little bit more time on the physician fee schedule and some of the things that have come out of that might be impactful for therapy providers and therefore the facilities we serve.
So home health, one thing that I think is just important for us as post-acute providers, we're really trying to do a great job of partnering across the continuum. So we may have some preferred home health partners that we're working with that as a skilled nursing facility, we hand our patient off.
Sure. Yep.
So having a little bit of knowledge about what's happening in their space is important. Just like in skilled nursing, where they move the buckets around, there's a proposed rule for home health that does that as well. So right now, home health payment is very based on therapy visits. When therapy gets in and how many visits they do during a 60-day period. And they have a new proposed rule called PDGM, and it also moves some of those buckets around. And so there may be less incentive for your partner to have therapy involved as much as they have before. And so, but we all know that in order for the patient to get the outcome, right, and for the patient to have that satisfaction with the provider, that they're going to need to provide those therapy services, right? If I'm going to go home and I'm going to be successful, somebody needs to be working with me on my walking and my ADLs. So asking your home health partner that you're handing people off to as you get closer, how is this going to impact that care? Right now, they're really incentivized to get that PT in there really quick.
Yeah, totally.
If that's no longer there, is there going to be a delay? Am I going to see some changes in your practice? Hopefully not, because we really want our customer to be taken care of well.
So important to have a conversation with the home health companies that you do work with to talk about how they're preparing for this new model and what type of impact it might have on them as a skilled nursing facility.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And then the physician fee schedule, I think we use the physician fee schedule in skilled nursing and in our outpatient business to bill. Yeah. Right? That's how you bill for your Part B services.
Sure.
And so it's important to know that there's some changes coming to that as well. Coming in 2022, as part of the some of the budgetary changes that were made last year, they threw out that they're going to potentially change payment for assistants providing Part B services. Right. They'll decrease reimbursement, so they'll pay more for a skilled therapist and less for a physical therapy assistant or an occupational therapy assistant. That doesn't come into play for a few years now. But starting next year, this physician fee schedule proposed rule has some changes to coding so they can begin to identify which services are provided by the physical therapist and which services are provided by the assistant. So there's some new codes coming, and so your billing department will need to prepare for that. But on the flip side, they actually took away some codes that we've been having to do for the last few years, our functional limitation reporting, fondly known as G codes, that were pretty worthless, that have just been sort of a check the box kind of thing that we had to do. But we're really a pain for the therapists and your billers. So I think we're all celebrating the end of the G code and the functional reporting. Love it. So that's a good thing. So something added, something taken away. So good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Very helpful. Kelly, thank you so much. I really appreciate your insights on this. There is a lot going on in healthcare, and I hope some of these insights as it relates to the proposed rules and the payment models that are shifting will be helpful for you as you prepare for the future and what the future looks like for your community and your facility.